This is really interesting. I can't believe, like, it's been so long. It's been so long in the making that Froome or like Team Sky, for any like professional, well, for any World Tour professional really. I mean, this is data that we've never ever seen before. I mean, it's data that's been released to the public on a grand scale. I feel like being that, you know, every Tom, Dick and Harry is giving their viewpoint on it, then I'm gonna do the same. The stage 19 energy expenditure fueling plan that Team Sky devised for Chris Froome, and I guess it's for most of the team as well. The fact that they broke down like everything, like they had different stages during the stage, so they broke it down into different phases, you know, transition phases, descent, and then climbs, and like how many carbs he'd have to take on during each of those phases and things like that. Some of it is really mind-blowing. Then we've also got Froome's fueling strategy, what he ate during the stages, both on easy days and hard days. What really blew my mind was the stage 19, so the stage he won in emphatic style. That was obviously 6 hours on a bike. Didn't say his post weight, but it says he started the stage at 68.9 kilos. He went through a whopping 14 energy gels in that stage, and 4 plain rice cakes, and he took on board 502 grams of carbs, etc, etc. And then his recovery, like he had a 70-gram protein shake smoothie, and then he had Haribo, some cherries, 400 grams of rice with syrup. That's something I've done before, which is actually really nice, and 4 banana slices, and that comes to 430 grams of carbs. That's a whopping amount. Analysis of Chris Froome's performance on stage 19. The fact they talk about his absolute power numbers. Obviously he's using asymmetric chain rings, which apparently over-report by about 6%, so you need to consider that when you're looking at his numbers. The fact that he always gained time on Dumoulin is crazy. And then we talk about like his average power, like on the climbs, like 400 watts for 25 minutes on the finishing climb. Yeah, I mean, there's pretty decent averages for the whole stage. Well, for certain segments of the stage, but I think there's a lot of stuff here that even the average Joe cyclist can take a lot from it. Actually, it's ironic, since I've seen that, there's also been news coming out that Richie Porte describes Team Sky's data drop as fake news. It's quite interesting. Chris Froome data. It is. It's on BBC News' website. I'll link it down below if you haven't seen it already. It's a pretty good article. Again, how credible are the BBC? Make your own choices on that one. But it's pretty detailed. There's quite a bit to read. I heard in a recent podcast that Froome actually deliberately started the Giro slightly overweight, and then he was gradually losing weight through the Giro. Is this possible? Yes. I haven't obviously done a race long enough to experiment to do something like that, but I remember doing the Tour of Portugal, which is like 10 days long. I started at like 59 kilos and I ended it at like 60. So, and I didn't weigh myself doing it, but I'm guessing, like, I mean, you know, we don't have the kind of nutritional support that these guys have, but I suppose if you had that kind of support that these guys have, it is truly possible to you know, really manage your weight properly. As for me, I was just basically going off of, you know, calories in, calories out, and trying to maintain weight that way. But I'm sure there's more to it than that, because when you race multi-day stage races, as many of you might know, you can gain an awful lot of water weight just because of the sheer amount of you know, work that your body's putting in. It requires obviously all this liquid, and when you're putting it all in, your body is storing it with all the carbs. So even if you are at a calorie deficit, you're still retaining water. What's really interesting as well is that somebody points out that he's eating to the demands, which is what you need to do. His breakfast doesn't really change. You know, maybe the portion size is a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger, depending. But it all comes down to like the dinner part. I mean, at the end of the day, you've done all your exercise, you've done all the stage. As long as you get that recovery, like straight afterwards, nailed, then that, as we see here, like you can eat less in the evening, because then you can go into a state of like losing a little bit of weight overnight. Obviously nothing silly, but you get the picture. Like you lose a little bit of weight, and then in the morning you just refuel as normal. So changing that evening meal is a really good tactic. Again, the feeding plan, like they put together like where they expect him to eat and where they expect him to drink. I mean, this is just like, it's unheard of, really. I mean, well, at least, you know, us, we've never heard of it before. But like, it's great to see that people are actually looking into it, you know, this deep and this intense, saying, okay, we need 50 grams at this and like 70 grams on this part of the climb, and all of that is just incredible. If any team's going to do it, it's going to be Team Sky. I hope me giving a little bit of an insight, my like 50 cents worth, penny for my thoughts on this one. I hope that kind of, I don't know, gives you a little bit of explanation, I guess. I guess it's actually quite on topic from what I'm doing at the minute as well, like the nutrition, that kind of side of it. Like it's quite refreshing. So if you've got any comments on this, leave them down below, and I'll be really interested to hear what you think of it, whether or not it makes the mud any clearer than it already is. So yeah, leave them down below, and yeah, thanks for watching.